Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 287. We meet here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google Plus and the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. With us tonight, we have David Rozam. David is a digital marketer. He's has an extensive experience in SEO and SEO copywriting. He's based in the bottom end of England. What's that town? No.
I'm in LA. I am.
What?
Lambton.
Anyway, it's pretty close to France. All right. You can find David at writingforseo.org and davidrozam.com. Masataki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net in the UK. He's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense community. You can find Masataki at wasaweb.net. Suraj Gadagay is proud to call himself an SEO. He's based in Pune in India. He formerly worked for Yahoo. Tim Capper is CEO of onlineownership.com. He's based in the UK. In Corby, about 100 miles north of London. He's also a Google top contributor on the Google My Business community. On the Google web search community, William Rock is a top contributor. He's an SEO based in Kansas in the USA. All right, we have 10 questions tonight. Let me get started. All right, our first one is it's titled, How Many Keywords Should I Target? Muhammad Ali Khan said, I have a question regarding keyword selection. Let's say you want to rank a website which sells oak furniture online. How many keywords do you guys think that I should target? I believe
you need to do the job.
Go ahead, David.
No, as many as you need to do the job, which is not quite as flippant as it may sound. You've got to think about what's being sold. You've got to look at what people are looking for, what people want to know about oak furniture. You need to think about what you need to do to outrank, perhaps, on some things your competitors. But don't get too caught up with keywords like oak or furniture, because they're going to be miles too general. So start with the ones that you think are most relevant to your customers, and build from there. Don't and carry on going until you're getting the results you want. It's impossible to say how many, and especially if you start mixing in things like pink fluffy elephants, as some people on this panel will obviously do at this stage. But they're nothing to do with oak furniture, although you could possibly put them on top of them, put the pink fluffy elephants on top of the oak furniture if you like that sort of thing in your living space. Anyway, I shall pass it on to Tim, who will tell you all about pink fluffy elephants and key phrases. But the answer is as many keywords as you need to do the job, and the job being selling sufficient pieces of oak furniture.
Yeah. So, you know, the amount of keywords is going to be fairly dictated by your products that you sell. So obviously your homepage is going to be welcome to the pink fluffy elephant oak furniture emporium. Okay. Where we sell a variety of blah, 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 blah. Then you're going to have your categories. So that could be chairs, tables, sideboards. I don't know if you're going to do doors, flooring, you know, the whole range. So each of those particular categories will then encompass its next, you know, its next stage of keywords. And then the products within those will also encompass the next set. So, for example, it'll be oak chairs, which could then be dining, it could be kitchen, it could be lounge. I don't know if you have lounge oak chairs, but, you know, maybe even outdoor. But so that will encompass the next set, right? And then your product itself would then also encompass the next set. So it could be a white or a light oak kitchen chair. It could be the style also. It could be a kitchen high back, cross back, pink fluffy elephant friendly chair. So all of those will then in themselves have a larger variation. So, you know, I wouldn't at this minute get too like head up on actual keywords, because you know, I would concentrate firstly on getting your structure correct. If you're just building this, I would concentrate now on getting your structure correct. Don't be clever and try and duplicate, you know, like I've seen so many times with I'll give you an example with a company I'm working with that does funny enough furniture, but more outdoor stuff. And they've kind of then started duplicating stuff where they've gone aluminium chairs and then metal chairs. Same freaking thing. The only difference was there was one cast iron different product in there. Well, no, actually, so let's call it aluminium for aluminium. And instead of metal, it's freaking cast iron. Yes, there is only going to be one product in there and look very lonely, but that's where it belongs. So don't start trying to get, you know, so, but if you're in the process of taking this on, first off, I would say to you, get your categories correct and get your products within those categories correct and have them properly interlinking, you know, and siloed. Then you have a clear understanding of where your keywords are and where you are missing in terms of, right, so I've properly structured this. Now, where is my light crossed back kitchen chair coming in? It's not really doing anything at the minute. Right, we need to start working on our kitchen oak chairs or oak kitchen chairs. Right, so now then you're going to think, well, what are people searching around that? And you can then start looking at whether it be, you know, content, it could be video, it could be actual on product page content, which will naturally include your keywords in it, or it could be guides. I mean, let's say you could have, you know, I don't know, 500 types of kitchen furniture, and sometimes it can be a little overwhelming when you start looking at this kitchen oak tables, and you've got 500 kinds, and people are like, well, what's the difference between this one and the next one? And then you could actually, you know, right, so I'm going to create a guide. We're going to list all of it onto a page, and I'm then going to create video content so that you can physically see the difference. One might be Do you see what I mean? And so it all depends on the product and how people are perceiving it, on then how you're going to start pushing the stuff. So yeah, I would put that keyword thing away in your head just at the minute and sort out the actual structure of the site. Once you've sorted that out, those keywords will then actually fall into place naturally for you.
And just to add to a little bit of that, go back into like helping the visitor experience, the customer journey. Sometimes that they might not know necessarily on the quality that they're looking for, or what what things set that piece of furniture apart versus another piece of furniture. One might be more expensive than this one, but why? Being able to have those type of structured articles in your site where it's helping them better understand what they're getting for that value, and at the same time is you're being able to actually drive those products pieces from that article into that landing page of that product category, so to say. And now you're kind of giving them a better experience, saying, oh yeah, they were talking about this structure or this stain or what to look for in the wood for faults or defects. So kind of teaching and educating your visitor, because everybody's got the products. So you can go look at the same exact chair on 50 million sites, but what sets that chair apart and why is it different in your category and why should I buy that from you?
Thank you, William. Well, I think we've covered that one. Let me have a look at our next. Okay. This one from JL Faverio. It's on Google Analytics retention time recommendation. I don't know if anyone's heard or not, but apparently there's this thing happening in Europe regarding something they call GDPR. Anyway, he's thinking that he should set his Google Analytics settings to do not automatically expire instead of the default 26 months.
Yes, he should do that. And I have a sneaking suspicion this is nothing to do with GDPR. I think it's a case of Google clearing out some storage space long term for a load of data that people don't really use that much. I really don't see how it's much to do with GDPR, but that wasn't the question really. The question is put them to do not automatically expire because you won't lose your historical data that way. And there's also another clause in it that talks about, I can't remember the exact wording, but it's to do with particular more advanced reporting from Google Analytics. If you don't have the long-term, the do not automatically expire option, apparently you will lose the ability to do some of these more peculiar and advanced things within Google Analytics. Now, it might be that you wouldn't dream of using them today, but what about your clients in 2 years' time, or your own business in 2 years' time? It's not something to close the door on.
Thank you, David. And anyone want to add something to that one before we move on?
Yeah, it also applies, as David said, that the companies who are largely involved into the advertisement, like double-click advertisement, where they're investing a lot of money, and for them, if it would make sense, the data that they are, like when they're advertising and they're driving the traffic to their website, if they have a specific goal in mind, that the audience that they're driving, and what do they see that eventually if they are going to become their customer, or if they are going to retain with that brand, what is the typical duration that see? And then because of that, then they sometimes, I've seen people setting the duration, but most of the time it's something like people are not aware of that option even it exists, and it is always sort of set to do not automatically expire. And again, I haven't seen anybody talking about and linking this to the GDPR. It exists even before that, that user and event data retention, I think, policy that Google has offered.
Thank you, Suraj. Okay, let's tweet that and we'll move on. Number 3 tonight on your run list from Cheryl L. Yancey, and it's on backlinks in the comments section of a page on a website. Cheryl said, I'm getting a lot of comments on one of the sites that I monitor. It's a small business site with a blog. The comments are all coherent, well-phrased English and relevant to the topic. However, all of them have URLs that are related to the blog's niche. For example, let's say it's a website/blog about plumbing, and all of the commenters list their website as some plumbing company. Always out of the original site's service area in the URL field when signing up to comment. Many of them leave legitimate emails as well, because their gravitas show up. I'm currently using the standard WordPress commenting system, which asks for a name, email, and optional URL. Any of the comments that are blatant and damaging spam are dealt with by either a spam plugin or manually by me. So it's pretty obvious that the commenters are using the comment section on the site to build links back to their websites. What do you do when this happens to your website? I'm not sure of the etiquette or best practices for how to handle this. From an outsider's perspective, the comments don't look bad, but I'm second guessing what I should be doing with these comments.
Well, usually we have seen for our client blog, when there are comments which are related to the post and they have given the website link, we understand the intention is usually to get the link through the comment. So we try to moderate it, approve the comment, but try to remove the website link. But it just appears as the person has commented, but not necessarily link that person's name to the website mentioned. And most of the time, I don't know if for her blog or his or her blog, that data, the comments are relevant to the post. That's good, but most of the comments that we usually see, if it's a WordPress blog, even you haven't published something, but still you see these spam comments coming in, and some comments are very generic, like, oh, nice article, this and that, very, very generic statements. For those cases, we usually delete the comments, but something it's relevant to the article, and if we find that the site, that website name which is mentioned, we try to remove that and just keep the name and the comment as the response to the blog.
Thank you, Suraj.
Yeah, I would also add that I do some searching out and finding a good plugin if you don't know how to actually code that into your forms field. But being able to actually, like you mentioned before, is remove that URL. You're primarily wanting the comment, and if it's good, relevant content, and it's to the topic of that article or that blog post, then I guess it's a good user. It's basically good user generated content that's actually providing some value. But if it's basically just for that link purpose, the easiest thing is to actually remove that link field from, even if they sign up on, and as they're filling out that to comment, the plugin will automatically, when it's posted, remove that URL so that you're not worried about outbound links from your blog post pages.
Yeah, and some of the comments form that I've seen, they disable the website field also. So the two things happen. So that one, you don't have an option to put the website address, and another is, even in the comment, if you're putting the, let's say, HTML link, it just cannot convert that into plain text, so that it's not even a link. Even if someone wanted to get a link through the text which is added in the comment, to that also, if they wanted to mention the URL, that will not be clickable. So those are the two ways that you can do it. I'm sure there's a plugin which converts that it into plain text, but if you know a little bit of coding, you can remove that particular field from the form, so you will have name, email, and the comment box to add your comment.
Excellent. Okay, if nobody has anything to add, we'll move on to the next. All right, this one from Anthony Sioki. He said, how do I best rank a site with no current backlinks? I actually tested this ran this on SEMrush and found that SEMrush was showing about 350 backlinks. Yeah, anyway, Anthony said he needs some good advice.
I think it all depends on. Go ahead, Tim.
You generally don't need links, depending on what you're doing. So if you wanted to rank for like a hotel in New York, okay, that's not what I'm talking about here. But if it's a local business in a semi-competitive market, when I mean semi-competitive, I mean, anyway, let's say 20 types of businesses. So that would be up to, like, let's say page 2. In a local kind of setting, no, properly structured content, targeted content, to attract the, for longer tail and specific search queries will win the day. You don't need to worry about links. And of course, with this content that you're being created, that you're targeting very specific users within that locality, you don't need links. And I can, I've got quite a few sites that I can prove that right off. So yeah, no, you don't need links.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I mean, I've had sites, and Jim, you had mentioned there's about 300 links to his website. Going out and looking at your competitors is a good, starting phase with maybe a tool like SEMrush, but also, go do a search on askthepublic.com for your topic and see kind of what questions are being asked around your niche, around your industry, and see if who shows up for those type of questions. And if you can also be kind of part of those questions as well, answering them on your website for your visitors. What can you do to provide valuable information when the visitor is searching for your product? So having a backlink is not always the end. It used to be the greatest thing since sliced bread when the engines first started, but now it's really goes back to the relevancy of the product in your content and how the experience is driven.
In fact, even talking of, like, when I said local, I mean, I've just hit for a dentist in Boston, massively competitive is Invisalign. Massively competitive. I mean, every Tom, Dick, and frickin' Harry wants to sell this thing, and you don't even need to be a dentist. You can just be qualified in doing the aligners, massively competitive. Never built a single link. We just looked at Invisalign and used Answer the Public, and especially on Invisalign, I mean, there was over 300-400 different types of particular user queries around Invisalign, and we just sat down and we answered every single freaking possible query about it that a user had or we could find. And yes, it took a little bit of time, but on the latest refresh after 2 months, page 1. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.
And one more thing to add to what William said, this is something we have experimented. When you look at the information-driven queries, like if you go to answerthepublic.com and you see what type of informative keywords people are searching, and for those queries, if you see a kind of a forum or a Q&A site, largely Quora ranks. But if you see a particular site like Quora ranks in first or second position, and then if you're able to write an 800 or 1,000-word article, very focused answering that question, I can guarantee you that your article will eventually rank and outrank the Quora site, which is ranking in top 10 or in top 3 positions for that matter. So informative keywords, and where you see like there are forum or like question and answer sites ranking, and if you're able to create the content, then yes, it's very easy to rank your article or your web page content that you're creating around that informative keyword.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, well, we're halfway through. We only have 10 questions tonight, and we're up to number 5 on our run list. Okay, so JL Faverio has another rel canonical question for us. He said, should I rel canonical from domain.com to domain.com/index.php or from domain.com/indexphp to domain.com?
I would do the index to the domain.com personally.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think Google will, in a sense, ignore the canonical if it's longer than the short version. At least that has been true for true when I used index.html, for example, as the canonical. You look at Google and see what they've indexed, and it is just /. So I would use the short one, or the shorter one.
Thank you,
Google.
Go ahead, William.
Google. Oh yeah, no, I think it's just Google will figure that out too. I mean, we've always had the index.php, index.html, home.html, all those different factors is basically the home page. Google can kind of figure that one out. It's the trickier ones with the canonical, all the pages internally. But going back to I would do the index.php or index.html back to the .com if you're worried about it.
Yeah, and in a sense, it's not something you need to worry about, right? Because Google will take care of it. Whichever you specify as the canonical, it will decide on one and stick with that.
Okay. Let me tweak that and we'll go on with the next. This one from Amit Kumar Roy. Recovering a site from the latest Google updates. Amit said, hey experts, good morning everyone. I need your suggestions/advice to recover a site from the latest Google updates. One of my sites was hit severely by the last Google update. It's an Amazon affiliate site. Visitors dropped almost 70 to 75%. And there are no penalties reported in the Google Search Console. Here is the scenario. Some keywords are still on top, but most of the keywords lose ranking, and the visitor drop is not gradual, it is abrupt. A 60% drop in visitation in just 3 days. Have you experienced the same? Are all the affiliate sites hit by this? Or is it a general update on all kinds of sites? Even the 10 Beasts site lost 80,000 visitors recently. I'm not talking about the previous penalty. How are you preparing to deal with the same? As far as I guess, this is a kind of a content-related update. So what to do now, man? Ahmed Kumar Roy said, sit down, or sit tight, or fight. And fight with what? All of my articles are optimized. Can you please share your shorts and strategy to survive? Happy marketing. Stay blessed.
I'd probably start with your analytics. Go back to the pages that actually started to lose traffic and look at the page. I mean, it's an affiliate site, so depending on how much useful content you have on that page may actually have some type of effect that, look at your competition. You're playing with an affiliate link, you're playing with Amazon, so many people have the same exact product, and what differentiates you? What makes that page different? And as you start to identify those pages that lost ranking, lost traffic, you might be able to actually fine tune that page a little bit more and gain some traffic back to it.
Okay, so I never lost any particular traffic on this last update. However, three of my new clients, new sites, all saw a massive increase, a massive spike in positions. So I don't, assume to know what this update was, but based upon my small little set, I would say this is purely content. So this is some kind of, I mean, it could, I don't, you'll have to, but for me, based on my set, this was content and quality of the content. And the only reason I say that is because none of my regular ones saw any drips, any drops or increases. They're nice and steady. The new ones which came on, which we massively realigned all their structure and their content and have increased their content, also 3 of them saw massive, just, I mean, literally overnight, like a wall straight up. 90, 100 positions, boom, boom, boom. So for me, it's content. And I know you say you've got optimized articles in there. That scares me when you say articles optimized, because there's different things. But I would look at your products, what you've got on the products, and then also perhaps revisit, some of your content and look, are you not cannibalizing things with content? Because I know I've seen a lot of times, especially with affiliates, they kind of just, in the early days, they kind of scattergun content freaking all over the place. So I would go back and revisit that. Apart from that, that's the only sort of insight I've got at the minute on this latest update.
Yeah, and if we start to look back, even on the Moz algorithm updates, it's pulling back to even mobile. Check your mobile friendly. Look at your speed of the pages. Look at not just your content, but look at the quality of the page as a technical level. A lot of affiliate sites have products spread all over the place. You've got JavaScripts, embeds, redirects. What does that page technically look like when it's loading and rendering?
So one more thing I wanted to share. This is something happened with one of the person I know on LinkedIn, that he is also into the same affiliate marketing. But what they do is they specifically go and test the product and they write their own content about the product. It's not necessarily copying the content from Amazon and putting it and then doing it. But what he said to me is that he explicitly admitted that we were doing a lot of link building activities around that product, which was like social bookmarking, article submission, and Google kind of penalized us. They didn't get the notification, but that happened. Now, if Amit was doing same kind of a thing where he was not really necessarily, let's say he was okay on the content side, but he didn't mention anything about link building, if in case he had done something which was against the guideline, that could another thing to look at it. But since affiliate is usually looked at more on the content side. Usually people tend to copy the content from a particular product website and paste it. But assuming if you've done something where you optimized your own content, but if you're doing something wrong on the link building side to kind of rank your website, that could be another thing to look at it. And you can comment in the comment section, what did you do specific to link building, and if that has affected in some sense if you were doing other things right.
Thank you, Suraj. I should also point out our forum heroes that answer questions on our communities through the week on Google Plus, the SEO Questions community, and also on the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. People like Michael Martinez and George G. I don't know his surname. And Suraj, I see you on the SEO Questions community this week. Look, it's really appreciated. It provides an instant answer to people. Valued, very much valued. All right, we're up to number 7 on our run list. This one from Abubakar Magal. And it's the title is a question that does a press release. Is a press release useful for backlinking? Abubakar said, please give your opinion about using press release servers for backlinking. Is there any value?
So, do you want my honest opinion here? Okay. So, the bulk standard run-of-the-mill free PR web shit like that, okay, no value whatsoever. Forget about it. Piece of junk. Okay. Some of those online press release services do, some of them, not all of them, some of them allow you to specifically target only a specific industry. And in fact, none of those are free in that sense. Those are all paid versions. I haven't found one that's specifically good. I do know of a few PR companies, especially in the hospitality market, that use specific ones that are highly fine-tuned. But those are the ones that you can add in your own contacts. It's like almost a management thing, but they do still send them out in bulk. And those ones I found are quite effective in outreach, not for links, okay? So now I'll tell you how I do it. If I've got a new a business that has got a bit of wonga to spare, that that we need to get some traction on and quite fast, and they've got wonga in the marketing budget, then we actually go the old-fashioned way, where firstly, if it's a brand new market to you, then obviously you need to do the research. You need to find out who all the journalists are, and that's in traditional paper, magazine, online, and all the journalists. I'm not talking bloggers. You can segment them out, but all your journos, and I'm talking high quality publications, both online and offline, that have readership, because you want eyes on the product, right? Then you create your press kit. And your press kit's going to include, depending on what your product is, if you physically can't send a sample of your product, then you're either going to do no cheesy mugs and stupid pens and crap like that. You've got to give them a bit of quality here, yeah? Got to give them a bit of quality, like a pink fluffy elephant quality, yeah? So that goes in with the, the sweetener. They then get the actual press kit, nicely packaged together, glossed, images of the new product or website or whatever you're launching. Are you doing an open evening? The invitation included into that, all nicely enclosed, all packaged, all ready to go. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your website. And then you can put it on your web all nicely wrapped up, yeah, into the box, sent off to them. Signed for, of course, posted. They then, obviously, once they've got it, you give them 2 days. Don't harass them. Give them 2 days once you know they've signed for it. And then you send them a follow-up email. Blah, blah, blah. Hope you're going to, Are you going to be joining us? What did you think of it? Do you want any more information on the product? And out of that, I've done that probably, I would say, 20 or 30 odd times, different clients, different products over the years. From that, the press coverage is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And you may not be getting a followed link, but you're getting a quality coverage in a hyper-relevant market to the people that are actually going to physically buy your product. So if you want to, if you want to do it properly, and you want actually the whole, and you want the benefit of actually shouting out about your business or new business, new product, new launch, then that's the way to do it. Because these free PR web stuff and crap like that, completely forget about it. You can look at the paid ones, but you must specifically check if they have decent enough contact list within the industry that you're marketing to, because they just may scattergun approach it again, and it may not actually work. But that's the way I do it. It's cold hard actual outreach, and we probably get an 80% return. And the best bit is because you're sending the press kit and then you're reaching out to them a couple of days later. Sometimes they want additional images, sometimes they want some extra information. The best bit is because you've got 15 to 20 different people writing their own thing on it. It's not the same crap going everywhere. It's 20 to 30 different publications, all written in by a different human, completely unique to their audience. And it's not just some box standard piece of crap that's going to just sit there and disappear very quickly into page 47 of oblivion. So yeah, think about what you're trying to do. Think about how you're trying to market this, and then approach it that way. Don't look at press release for like, oh, is it good for links? No, forget about it. If you want humans on site buying or, hitting that end result that you want, then you need to start being smart.
Thank you, Tim. Very valuable. Anyone want to add?
I got a question for Tim. Tim, have you seen when you're doing a press release, which is very outreach driven, and you're offering them the product, let's say you got the coverage, have you, I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying that it is kind of true, that correlation of your product or service getting, like brand getting cited on, let's say 5-6 platforms, and somehow it is without links, I'm talking about, even if it's a brand mention, affecting your ranking. Have you noticed anything like that?
I would say in almost all cases, the brand recognition straight away shot up. So branded search queries increased straight away.
Mm-hmm.
So there was brand recognition, and on the particular product or main service that the business was provided, yes, there was an increase, but I can't say that was just due to all of a sudden the large online. It certainly didn't. It certainly helped. I can't say if it was a direct correlation because there were plenty of other marketing activities involved at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But the whole thing, going back there, the whole thing, if you're doing a press release, at the end of the day, you need, and if you're doing it properly, you need to that, you know, you need to have a goal in mind, whether they're going to attend an event, whether it's a new product, a new launch, yeah, there needs to be a goal, kind of a goal in mind, and ultimately it's either to sell it or to get eyes on, or to actually come and visit the business, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's, but you know, I find it brilliant, but you can't do it for, oh, I've just launched a new cake knife. Do you see what I mean? It's not for every business. It needs to be something substantial in that sense. Whether it's, you know, you're launching a new stove range, something that of value, because then you can actually offset the expense of the you know, of the marketing versus the actual cost of selling a single range at 30 or 40,000 pounds. Whereas it's like, oh, I've just launched, you know, a new mouse pad or something that's worth £1. You're not going to send, you know, 100 mouse pads out to someone.
So we did this. So for one of our clients who are into vehicle conversions, so they launched this expandable motorhome in India first time, and nobody had done that. And that client had a media person, and she leveraged her relationship, and she was able to send those, you know, it was a press kit plus the story that we, you know, we are the India's first expandable motorhome is getting launched, and we named it as a Finezza. Now, after this branding exercise, we got a lot of attention. And now when you search in Google, that query, which is like the term that we coined for the vehicle, which is Finezza and motorhome, you see that coming in auto suggestion. So now people kind of get that brand name and they're searching like Finezza motorhome, you know?
Yeah. It works a treat, you know, actual real people writing and shouting about your business. It's quality. And yes, you know, you're putting out a press kit. Yes, there is that expense. Ultimately, you know, and sometimes, you know, that can still be used because, you know, obviously if you're clever, you're ordering press kits in bulk, and they can be handed out later on at different shows and stuff like that. It really works, you know, humans shouting about your product or writing about your product. It works. Totally.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, so you just got another pretty face, Tim. All right, let's look at the next one. It's from Ragul Gandhi. It's titled, "Will subdomains affect my main domain SEO performance?" No. He said, "Dumb here. I'm having my own business, graphic designer domain graphic designer, my own business domain, graphic designer. Now I'm going to create a subdomain for some charity work for my friend. Will this affect my main domain SEO performance? Any comments? Welcome."
Difficult one. My inclination would be not to do this. It's going to potentially mess up the purity of whatever messages you're putting out as a designer. I'm assuming that the charity work is not graphic design for charity. Maybe if it was, I'd be less concerned. There is the question of whether your friend is going to do something silly SEO wise as well. Well, I guess what I should say before this is that there used to be a feeling that subdomains were completely separate from the main domain as far as Google was concerned. That's not the case anymore. So you've got to kind of say, okay, there's not going to be a line between the content that your friend is going to create on the subdomain and your own content. So as I say, I think if it's something like promoting a charity for warts on the nose, it may not have anything to do with what you're doing at the moment, and I wonder whether this will be sending out rather jumbled messages to Google. Yeah, that's my worry. I think the case for it won't make any difference could be made as well, but I'd be concerned that your friend does not do anything badly on it by buying links to, or getting some SEO from Fiverr or whatever it might be. You know, what you're doing hopefully is all above board what your friend may do to your site. Remember, this is your site, may not be. A domain and a bit of shared hosting is not a lot of money. I'd rather buy him a domain and set him up on his own rather than chance my own site.
Thank you, David. Anybody else?
No, and just top up that, you get a nowadays free SSL too, so don't worry about it. Create a new domain.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next. The penultimate question is from Yukai Wakiyama. Yuki said, will a link in an iframe be counted as a backlink? And Yuki went on to say, if the link for our website is in an iframe and some other websites embed that code, will it be counted as a backlink?
Well, I was looking at that, and then I had this link bookmarked somewhere, and I did see that there was discussion, and someone kind of proved that, yeah, it does passes the link juice. And also sometimes when I had done the backlink evaluation, I've seen that in the backlinks report in Search Console, sometimes the links has been coming from an iframe. So with that said, not from just the discussion, but since I had also technically looked at the backlinks and I'd seen that some of the backlinks were coming from an iframe, so I do feel that they pass link juice through iframes. I would like to see what others say on this.
Thank you, Suraj. Anybody else? All right, our last question. Are URLs case sensitive, and does it matter for SEO? This is a question asked by Policy Advisor. See, Suraj Gadagay, this must have come from Google+. Suraj Gadagay and Federico Sasso both answered.
Yeah, I think just to sum it up, both of our answers I mean, the web service, it depends, like Linux or Windows. Sometimes Linux don't have a problem, but Windows, they treat them different URL. So there are technically two ways. I think I said one way and Federico said other way, that, you know, one way to just in htaccess write the mode rewrite code and then it will take care of it. In other ways, then you just do the canonical and that will kind of taken care of. So I think both ways you can do it. I believe he posted the same question with some additional information later on Google+. I didn't see what it was, but I believe both the answers by me and Federico kind of tells him what he needs to do if a situation arises like that. I think the actual question, though, it was about the dynamic variables that he wanted to add in the URL. He wants to track something and he wants to add those dynamic variables. And it was not really about capitalization, but those dynamic variables could be in a capital A or small a, then in that case, if your URL, which have a static URL, the dynamic variables are getting generated, adding a canonical tag is the right approach in that case. I don't see that particular post added here, but I remember that there was another post that he posted. So yes, for that specific question where you're adding the dynamic variables in the URL, adding a canonical tag helps. But if we're just treating the URLs with capital and lowercase, then you can even do that via htaccess.
Thank you, Suraj. Anybody else? All right, I think it's that time again. Yes, it is. It's thank you for watching time. I see we still have people watching us. I've just pressed the wrong button again, damn it. Such an idiot. Anyway, we'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again. We thank you for your interest in what we do. It makes what we do worthwhile. And we'll see you next week, but thank you very much.